Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you are doing well. Mm, we'll be starting our session in 5 minutes, inshallah. Let the people join. Okay, my name is Mukhtar, and I'll be your host for today's webinar on the behalf of Innovative Fanatics, Idea Society, Comcept University, Islamabad. As the title says, in today's webinar, we will be discussing about Lean Six Sigma as an organizational core competency. Naburva Business Solutions Incorporation is a leading Canadian company that provides consulting services to entrepreneurs around Canada, ranging from small and medium business to large corporations. The main purpose of this webinar will be to educate students about global practices which have not been adopted in Pakistan yet. Okay, without wasting further time, I would like to call Ans for the recitation of Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah, Ans. Thank you so much for your time. Okay, so moving forward, I would like to introduce our esteemed speaker for today's webinar, Mr. Kashan, the President and the CEO of Naburva Business Solutions Incorporation, Canada. He has also been Western Canada Regional Vice President of CTMP Society. He is a member of various advisory boards of companies operating in for-profit and non-profit sectors, and holds an MBA from HEC Montreal, Canada. He is also Chartered Human Resource Professional and a member of CPHR Alberta, Canada. He is a designated member to many HR professionals who participate in CPHR Alberta mentorship program. He also holds a certified test management participator and Lean Six Sigma black belt. He has developed various training programs and operations process improvement and project management. So, ladies and gentlemen, without wasting our time, I would like to call Mr. Kashan. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Thank you for joining us. I hope you will be doing well. How has been your life in few months of COVID-19? And so, can you please unmute your mic? It's still muted. Thank you.
Sorry about that. First of all, thank you very much for having me here on the forum. And needless to say, it is a great pleasure to be here to be addressing the young talent here in Pakistan at Comcast University. And to answer your question about the life post-COVID, that was a question. Am I right?
So
can you hear me?
So your voice is not
Can you
clear.
hear me? All right.
So your voice is not clear.
Can you hear me? Not hear me, like absolutely not at all. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if anybody in the like the administration, nobody can hear me, or is it just your system, Mukhtar? Hang on a second, let me double check here. Okay, so yeah, apparently there's some kind of lag with the system. Yeah, to answer your question, the lifelong pandemic has been really upsetting for businesses, especially for small businesses. And the consulting firms like us, we've been like really struggling to help out small business, and many of them have been kind of totally shut down. They've been kind of wiped off the face of earth by plan. So yeah, that's pretty tough during COVID. That's what's going on.
Okay, so I have few questions. How was your journey as an MBA from a HSC monitorial graduate to an entrepreneur?
Yeah, that is really a good question. So my journey as an entrepreneur, I mean, it started back when I was working at a Fortune 500 company, and I was actually reading a report on small businesses here in Canada, and like that report was drafted by Statistics Canada. It was back in 2019, somewhere towards the end of the year. So I was really shocked to see the mortality rate of this sector. So that's when I thought maybe why not do something about this particular sector? I mean, because the reason is that these small businesses they can't really afford big four, well, the consulting firms which are called big fours like KPMG or McKinsey, Deloitte, etc. So I thought, why not help out these small businesses? Because many, in fact, more than half of the small businesses here in Canada, they're obliterated like within the first 10 years of their life. So this is what kind of motivated me to my entrepreneurial journey. I thought I'd add value to businesses and help them survive and I kind of become a fruitful part of the economy here in Canada. So that's how it started.
Okay, sir. I think you have something to present on guiding messages. Um,
I beg
okay,
your
sir.
pardon, I
Can
didn't
you
get
hear me?
your. All right, okay. Excuse me. So, as we all talked about in the presentation today, that the whole point of this webinar is that just the importance of lean six sigma, small businesses can leverage it as an advantage. All right. So let me quickly share my screen with you guys here so that you guys can have a look at what I'm talking about. Screen there. So you can see the screen. I'm not happy that you can do so. You can just confirm with a yes or no that you are into my screen. Okay, I just for confirmation whether everybody can see the screen. Let me have some. Since I don't see the PowerPoint. Okay, that's usually stop. Stop sharing it. Doesn't start sharing again. That helps. Okay, I'm trying to now. I can see it now. Yes, the picture slide, but I'm assuming that everybody can see it. Okay, awesome. All right, so this is the topic part of today. How organizations can leverage and basically philosophy as their competitive advantage. All right, so I will begin with the outline. Right. So I'll go over topic of our presentation today. I will talk about the objective of this presentation, why we are conducting the whole point of this exercise to you as an objective. Then go over different approaches to quality. This is essentially something that is quality, right? So we try to improve quality for product and process, and I will get into the details of these two different. So I will get common that you're probably aware of. Okay. Yeah, looks like there's something wrong with the audio. Can everybody hear me properly? Oh my, that's a shame. What do we do now? So I'll get a little closer to the camera, and I'll try to speak up. I'll go as slow as I can, and I hope it helps. So I will go over different approaches that you are familiar with. Everybody has heard of quality control, quality assurance, total quality measurement, as well as ISO 9001. So can you hear me any better now, or is it slower? No, yes, no, maybe. Oh boy, that's terrible. But as long as you're able to understand, the whole, at least just I think that'll serve the purpose. I mean, if you have videos that will. Yeah, okay, that's good. If we kind of try to refresh it, maybe it helps.
Let us join again. I think there was some kind of distortion.
All right. So how do I sound now? Everybody hear me?
Yes, sir. Assalamualaikum.
Can you hear me now? Oh, okay, perfect, awesome. Looks like you guys can hear me. So I will resume where I left off, and let me share my screen again. Right. There we go. Okay, can you put my screen? I've shared it from my end. Yeah. Okay. And just to be sure, are you still able to hear? Cool. All right. So where was I? Yeah, I was talking about different approaches to quality, and I will just go over briefly the common familiar approaches like quality assurance, CQ, and ISO. I will talk about the Lean Six Sigma philosophy, how this can do the rest of the traditional approaches. And that's when we will talk about how the organizations can actually leverage to their advantage, how they can create competitive advantage through this philosophy. All right. Finally, I will kind of give you a brief overview of our Naburva Lean Six Sigma certification program. And finally, at the end, I will questions and answers about I'll take the questions. See, I will be giving the answers to you guys about Lean Six Sigma and relevant questions that you might have. All right. So let's begin. There we go. Okay. Yeah. So the whole idea behind this presentation, this whole, is that I just wanted to introduce the idea of Lean Six Sigma, because I have to speak to quite a few professionals lately. I was speaking to people from different backgrounds, from management, engineering, and other fields. I was honestly surprised that Lean Six Sigma philosophy is not really, it's not really effective. It is not really the complete approach. All right. So I thought I should better hold this session where I could give a few words and a few ideas to you guys about how kind of works for us and what does it mean. All right, so this is essentially the whole point of this presentation. Okay, what was it for? The Lean Six Sigma approach is quality. All right. So before I talk about Lean Six Sigma, it would be pertinent that I start off with something that you probably all know. These different approaches, be the subject of competitive advantage. So I'll just talk about you guys. I hope I can give some feedback. What do you think is competitive advantage? I think audience can win, right? The administration. Of course, since I didn't get any, I'm not sure. Participants can type in comments or ask questions. Oh, you can't hear me again. How about if you turn off a video, maybe that can use some bandwidth. That can allocate some bandwidth to the audio when I'm speaking. Maybe that can reserve some data for that. that. All right, so I will try to continue with my slides. Hopefully, you can hear me any better now. I'm still trying to sit closer to the webcam, and I will try to speak slowly. Maybe that's how you guys understand what I'm saying. So, starting with the quality. So this is the basic approach. This is, I think, the most historical method. Excuse me. So this is probably the most ancient approach to quality, and this is something that was introduced back during the Industrial Revolution period. All right. So the Industrial Revolution was something that was happening in the 19th century, and the whole idea was that the organizations, the manufacturers would produce items in mass, in bulk. They would want to make sure that any item that was defective that would not reach the customer. So what they would do is that they would have someone inspect the item at the output of the production line, and if that was non-conforming, they would just kind of put it on site. Okay. So the whole idea of quality control revolves around inspection. That's the whole point. That's the whole idea of quality control. So it only focuses on inspection alone. So in this case, what happens is that you would be inspecting the product, but in some cases, you would inspect the raw materials and the product. Okay, nothing in between. Right? So in that sense, when you look at a reactive approach, like when you're taking something that is faulty, the fault is already there. Okay, the damage has already been done. Okay, if there was any defects or any revision process, that is you just don't think about it except for taking it out of the production and putting it on the side. Okay, that's the idea behind quality control. So traditionally it's thought to be associated with manufacturing only, but as applied in service sector as well. So for example, you want to reservation. All right, so you go to the reservation reception desk and you have a form. Okay, so then the supervisor, the receptionist will inspect the forms that day for any errors that were in the forms that were not the form was not properly processed by the clerk. So this is a form of inspection, which is for quality control. Right? This is the idea of quality control. Here are a couple of examples of where you would see that the items are being measured, or their structural integrity, or that they're like you would essentially inspect them for any kind of non-conformance. They have breakage. All right. So this is how you reflect the non-conforming. Now, after that, the idea of quality assurance. Right? So this is a little bit broad compared to quality control. And in that, it kind of includes the process into consideration. So what you do is that you would obviously inspect the product, but you also have some kind of check on the process itself. And when I say this is a check on the process, it means that you would things like there's like you have our training documentation available, the process you were performing on a product or during the delivery of a service, those are being followed according to what has been laid out in the operation manuals. The working conditions are ergonomic. The place is up, there's enough lighting, stuff like that. So that's what you take into account when you're talking about the quality assurance approach. And in this sense, it's something of a preventive nature as compared to quality, because probably you'll be able to root out the causes of process deviation or defects a little bit better to quality control. Okay. Now, then you have total quality measurement. Okay. TQM. So TQM is which is more like quality assurance, but it's like on a larger scale. So total quality measurement is something that is implemented organization-wide. So everybody in the organization will breathe, eat quality. So that's kind of this kind of quality. So that is what would happen is that teams not in like the quality control, not just isolated from, rather every department within the organization thinks quality, how they can improve their, how they can pursue continuous improvement. And by the way, this is one of the lean principles. I get that later when I'm talking about the lean philosophy. Right. So when I say that it is implemented organization-wide, it means it has to have the commitment from the organization. Okay. So there's like town hall meetings. You'll gather ideas of how you improve processes, how you make it more qualitative. Right. So you would essentially at the end of the day that whatever product you're making, whether it's good or service that you're delivering. Right? So how you can make that product more qualitative. Okay? This is the idea of keeping. Then we have ISO 9001. So every of you must have heard about ISO, International Organization Standardization, right? So this organization laid out standards for a whole lot of fields. Very like healthcare, like environmental management, like information security management, and even specific to certain specific industries as well. Like so this is ISO 9001. This will quality management, okay? And what you do to get an ISO certification, that you have to kind of demonstrate to the agency that you're following certain protocols, you're following certain processes. You have to check the balances. You, of course, first of all, you by the standard your product should have. Okay, what your customer needs. So you define the customer needs. You go through a whole lot of audits and inspections to make sure that you have process management systems. All right. So there's a difference between an audit and inspection, and I like that here. The inspection is something that when you inspect to filter out any performances. Okay, but during audit, you essentially do the inspection, but you do not filter out any other property effects or like you don't do that. You just report. So audit is for reporting purposes. Inspection is for actually filtering out what is not performed. Okay, so this is the difference between audit and inspection. So this ISO 9001, this process, like the process towards attaining certification, is really driven, right? Because this is a third party, it's an organization to which you have to demonstrate that what you are doing in your organization, possibly you're managing, you're doing it in a way that conforms to the standards by ISO. Okay, so they're all the approaches, the traditional approaches that you have heard of so far, right? Now, if you notice, the thing that each and every one of these is that you are essentially focusing on the product, right? So you want to make sure the product is qualitative. You want to make sure that it's free from defects. You want to make sure that it meets all the requirements, all right? But what about the process? I mean, these approaches like quality assurance and ISO, they touch the process as well. But you don't really measure the process in terms. Whether the standards are being met or other, whatever you lay down in that that is being followed. So like additional measurements being done with that intensity as they should be. Right? So excuse me. So what you do is that you're basically focusing on the product. So now I will come to the idea of competitive advantage. So I was asking a question to the audience, but it looks like it's not like the participants cannot really interact with me or something. So I will just respond to the question myself. The competitive advantage refers to the capability of an organization to things better as competitors. Right? Now, this could be something that it could relate to a lot. It could relate to quality, ability to produce stuff at the lowest cost. It could relate to something that is like exclusive dominance over certain type of technology, or which is kind of maybe, let's say, protected by patent. And probably the best example to give you that of something like to exclusive access to technology or process is big levels. Okay, I think if you don't have children of your own, you have nephews and nieces with Lego. Right? So Lego said they held the monopoly over this big toy manufacturing market for many years. Right? Because their product was protected by patents. It's not to do that. They were the only, despite it being really simple, protected by patents, and they had that competitive advantage that nobody else had because of the protection due to patents. Right? In terms of the possibility, if you notice, like if you Lego set from Pakistan, like if you bring from Pakistan, you're from Canada, if you're from the US, if you're from Brazil, to China, and you kind of mix it together and try to make a product out of it, every single piece will fit perfectly together. There's so no variability, close to zero. Okay, the product is such like it follows such a high standard, and the variability is so low. Okay, so that's an example of competitive advantage. So the idea of process quality, just to give you an idea of what these to mean. Let's say I have the cell phone, okay? So maybe the competitor of this cell phone manufacturer produces a product that has exact same features, is exactly as reliable. This thing is it fulfills all the customer's expectations and needs. For example, it never heats up on me. It doesn't heat up. It's battery doesn't blow in my head, stuff like that. So it is perfectly conforming to like whatever standard product should have. Okay? So when these two products are following the exact same standards. Now, where the competitive advantage comes into play. Let's see at the back end. This thing is at twice the cost of what the competitors use. So which one has better competitive advantage? The other factor, because despite the product quality is exactly the same, the company whose more cost has a better competitive advantage. So the product quality, which was let's say maintained by the traditional approaches like quality control, TQM, what I explained to you before, the product quality was different, the process quality was different. This is what gives an organization a competitive advantage, right? So the more profitable an organization is, the better advantages they have. Their share value is better because business is on the profit, right? And even the organizations that are non-profit, even for them, it is a question of operating at the lowest possible costs. Okay? For them, but the quality of their product, like the service, being provided at the lowest cost. Okay? So the cost is something that's like a profit in every business operation. Right? So this is the difference between the product quality and the process quality. And now let me explain what the incentive offer comes to product and process quality. So the Lean Six Sigma is basically a combination of two approaches, Lean and Six Sigma. They use different at one point, and Lean is separate from Six Sigma. But this idea relates to the quality of the process. Both these approaches, despite being somewhat different in their methodologies, but both have the same purpose: they improve process quality. So they're merged together in the Lean Six Sigma approach. All right. So the Lean is something that focuses on the elimination of waste from process. Six Sigma reduces the variability of the process. So two things: waste and variability. A process that have very little variability, but be very inefficient in terms of it has, let's say, many non-value added activities. Right? And the process is lean, like super lean, and does not have non-value added activities, and no way to find engagement of the process. For the product itself to have more variability. Okay. So, like, it's necessary to understand the difference between the two. So, what this approach does, it addresses qualitative and quantitative factors, like the combined. So, we talked about the importance of engagement of the stakeholders. We talked about movement. We talked about the culture that is conducive to the idea of process improvement. We talked about participation. We talked about encouragement of ideas. So these are all qualitative factors. In quantitative factors, we measure process in statistical terms. We measure the variation process. We measure the mean process. So whatever measures we have to measure process, we measure the performance of the process in statistical terms. So this, like I said, it is a combination of qualitative and quantitative factors. Like I said, it eliminates wastes from the process. And there are different wastes. Typically, the literature are 7 different wastes. Some pieces of literature say it's 8. But regardless, essentially, the point is that you have to identify and remove any non-value adding activities from the process. So the 7 that takes place here are transportation, motion, work process, waiting time, overproduction, defects. So some of them are straightforward, right? So transportation, you have to take part unnecessarily. You have to travel 100 miles for road. It's extra time and effort and energy being spent in that transportation. Okay, transport to be applicable to the idea of flow of information. Like if you're bumping off email that or necessarily which serve no purpose towards the product itself. It's unnecessary transportation. And the same way, broken process. If you have like tons of items, they're not being sold. They're half processed and waiting in the production station and production line. That's it is just I'm sitting there doing nothing. So this is some of the idea. Some are you kind of have to think about it and process better. Like overprocessing is a way. Let's say if you are if you want to get something improved, you file an application with an organization or any private organization, which is a more kind of bureaucratic culture. So the file will move from the initiator to the next level, then to the next level, and flow through applications which serve no purpose, add no value to the process itself. But like each stage will keep more and more waiting time. So let's say wait time at these 50 days are lost just because of like being over-processed. The approval that you need to get the thing done, to get the product started, it doesn't. Those days add no value to that product. Okay, so this is a non-value added activity. All right. So the idea of is basically based on some lean principles. And the opens are from Toyota. So, so the Western writers who actually first wrote the lean principles, they were from the West. I'm not sure. Essentially, they were from the West. The observations that they use the basis to propel those lean principles. Those observations were made into the manufacturing process. So we can say that the origin of lean, in fact, is Toyota. So the lean principle that was briefly highlighted. First, it starts with defining value, mapping the values, creating a pull system, and the pursuit of continuous improvement. So that starts with the customer. So I, as an organization, will not determine what is value for its customers. Because my client will tell me what constitutes value. If I say that, let's say a magnificent consultant, proposal for, let's say, a program or a cost improvement initiative. And I will write memos for the company, which will say, but we don't need them. Right? So it's not something that I will define, it's something that the customer or client will define. So us defining value starts with the customer, whether it's appropriate. So the next thing is value stream. So value stream is really important, and that's one of the 5 lean principles. And I'll give you a brief example to demonstrate why it's important. So let's say you are examining the process, make it more lean. You want to cut waste from it. Okay, so you look at the process in isolation from everything around it. And you see that the process moves from step A to B to C to D and to E. Okay. And you find out after you study the process, you find that probably the best way to get your final product done without any kind of product itself, without the quality, you can jump from step A to D to E to get the process to change my product. But if you not mapped the value stream, probably you will not know that maybe going from step A to B was mandatory for compliance purposes. Okay, so despite the process, that step does not add any value itself. It is still, despite being non-value adding, it's still important because if you don't do that, your company will get defined. All right, so like doing good will create more of your organization. So that's why it's important to have the process in context with everything that surrounds it. Okay, so that mapping the value stream is important. Then creating the process flow. And this idea is straightforward in itself too. But I will explain this. Let's say if there are 4 stages on a production line. Okay? So stage A and D are operated at a fast rate. Okay, their processing capability is fast. But stage C is slow. It operates at full capacity, but it's only able to process so much in real time. All right. So what happens is that the first 2 stages will keep on producing at their rate, which is faster than the 3rd stage. What will happen eventually is that the pilot will before stage 3. That's waste because at the 3rd stage, you cannot process the items at that rate. All right. So it's like that how fast stage A, B, and D can operate. Since stage C is the bottleneck, the flow which disturbs the flow of the process, the total capacity of the process, the whole line will be equal to speed processing speed of that bottleneck. Right? So it doesn't matter how fast the stages can operate. So you will have to remove that bottleneck. You will have to introduce flow into the process. So that everything goes in the process at the same pace. That's where we have perfect flow in the process. Right? So then there's the idea of a pull system. That's the 4th main. So the pull system, what happens is that any product from one stage to the next only when it is demanded. When you're manufacturers, so you're producing items, everything in your process has a perfect flow. But what you're producing is setting up in the warehouse. It's not going anywhere. Okay, your warehouse, there's no demand for it. Right? So that's what pull system that also means. So you have to have demand for something to for it to move along to the next stage of the process. If I get continuous improvement. So continuous improvement, this is a cliche, you must have heard about it. But what is that? Nothing is perpetually correct. Okay, so you do something that becomes a standard, but there are kind of areas that start showing up later. There are inefficiencies that you keep identifying along the way, and you want to start new ways how to improve those processes. An example that was in the last lecture was the typewriter. So before, there used to be calligraphers who used to write important documents like a Constitution or Declaration of Independence or treaty with a foreign government. So, but that process is more time taking. You would have to have those calligraphers at your disposal at every government wherever you would need them. Okay, so that's probably not possible. So when typewriter was invented, it solved the problem. Right? So it was a step which was towards reducing that lack of supply of skilled calligraphers. Right? If you more efficiently do it, you can just type way faster as opposed to what you would write in your calligraphy or text. So it is more efficient. But what happens when you're writing a business report and you are writing a page report, and when you're asking you to realize that there's something that contradicts what you wrote on the first page, what you're gonna have to read the whole thing, and you'll have to do it again, make it consistent, right? So then word processors came, which kind of sort of the any flaws you could just make increments, you could save it and print it and all. So things move gradually, steps. Nothing is especially rapid steps as opposed to breakthrough improvements. Right? So continuous improvement is like tiny improvement. So this is the principle. Right? So this is what the lean principles tell you about. Then Six Sigma at Motorola. And back in the 80s, and to do with it, want to cut down the defect rate, right? So the defect rate has the element of cost, and that is defective, thrown away. It has defect, but can be repaired to the system, and you rework on it and you repair it to get it into the defect state. So whether you're throwing away or whether you're reworking on it, it has an element of cost. What happens is that this element of cost is hidden. It's not showing in the accounting books. So if you are business students in the audience listening to this have some exposure to accounting finance, you would know that once you're writing the expenditure overheads, they will include everything. This is the cost of the pencils, this is the cost of the erasers, these are the staples, the overheads. Right? So let's say we have the the thing which is called the hidden factory. Right? So everything kind of rolls up into cost of operations, or cost of goods sold, or whatever for your organization to note down ledger, right? So when implemented at Motorola, in whatever years they implemented it, they reported over $15 billion of the cost savings due to the reduction effect alone, right? Value at organization can tell you the value of what we correctly. So this is about Sigma. This is the proof that brings me to an organization, right? So Apple thought somewhere in the mid 1990s, General Electric did, and they because worked at cost savings, and obviously for profitability, because their share depends on it, right? So they implement this. They reported some like $10 million in a matter of a decade. So only in a matter of years, they took like $4 billion. So what happens is that you are looking at the variability process. You're measuring, as I said before a couple of times, you're measuring in statistical terms, and you want to make sure that they fall from sigma level. And what's the sigma? Sigma is just a statistical term which refers to the standard deviation for process. All right. So if I was to tell you in a layman language, in layman, what Six Sigma process means, a Six Sigma process, right? A process that is truly Sigma, it has only 3.4 defects in 1 million opportunities. Right? That is Six Sigma level for operation. Okay, and yeah, why do we need to have quality? I mean, why not 98%? Why not something like that? The answer is that it totally depends on what your problem. So, like I said, two organizations, they reducing their defect rate, they reduced billions of dollars. And to illustrate the idea of why certain sigma should be cheap, let me put it this way. I don't say that because it's so easy to understand. So clear. As a student, if you score, let's say, 95% on your exam, you are the best. You're right? Probably nobody get to beat you in one maybe district. But 95% means we're talking about that. So there are 1,000 cars passing by on a road, and 5% of them have an accident every day. Is that a desirable term still? No. So depending on the delicacy of the process, what you're dealing with, okay, you determine your signal. Let's say if you're producing some kind of pretty generic item, the nail that you hammer into a wooden structure, like 10% of those nails are slightly off in their measurement. Doesn't matter. If you're dealing with, let's say, healthcare system, you don't have to about surgeries, right? So, like I said, depending on the process, depending on the operations you're dealing with, you will determine what's most important for you. Okay, so this is the representation of the process. So in the middle, you see this bell curve, the standard distribution curve, and the area represents the probability of a certain event, right? So if you look at the curve, the middle curve is the mean, the standard normal distribution zero mean. So most of the observations tend to lie at the mean or the average of a process. As you tend to move away towards the probability of event occurring outside of those, like away from the mean, the probability will get smaller and smaller and smaller. Right? So let me put it this way: in your class, in your group, the heights of all students would tend to follow a normal distribution. So if you're talking about male students, let's say, most of the students will be around 5'7", 5'8" something like that. Right, so probably finding if 8" or 5'7" height would be pretty large, right? But how likely is it to find somebody who was like 6.5 feet tall? Right? You'll probably hardly find somebody that tall. So this is what distribution means. So, and this is the very basic that it means. So when you're talking about the Six Sigma process, if you look at this curve, the orange lines, the extremities, they represent the upper and lower specification limits. These are the standards that the customer wants the product to have. And the blue lines at the end of the curve, normal distribution curve, they represent the upper and the lower control limits. All right. So control limits and specification limits, they're different. Control limits are always 3 standard deviation away from the mean. Whenever you're talking about a normal distribution curve, the control limit is 3 standard deviations away. All right. So in the Six Sigma process, the variability will be so low that the probability of an event occurring beyond 6 standard deviations will be as slim as 3.5 in a million. All right. So this is a brief idea of what Six Sigma is. And how do organizations create competitive advantage? That's the main. I mentioned the examples of and General Electric. They are so well known examples. Like anyone has even a trace of idea about what Lean Six Sigma is about that these two icons, like how they measure the benefit of Lean Six Sigma in terms of their costs, the impact of their costs. Okay, so if you are able to develop a process which has so low variability, first of all, your product quality will be amazing. So you will not have that incentive, like quality process to make sure that you produce laptops. You have to throw away every 10 laptops to make sure that the 90 that are going to the customer are quality. You will have that. You know that only 3.5 million could be faulty, but they will be like that has probability of them being right. So if you're able to produce 9 quality, and if you're able to cut down your costs, because you don't have to be able to. Plus, you've eliminated all the waste from your process of your initiative. Right? So there's no waste in your process. There's no variability in your process. Eventually, your product is super quality. Guess what happens to your reputation, your share value, your that's showing you competitive advantage. And those are organizations who are able to harness this competitive advantage. They will continue to operate at a better level compared to competitors. So competitive advantage is not something that is permanent. Like organizations have to struggle really hard to maintain once they have built a competitive advantage, right? So continuing Legos, now their patent is expired. What else can they do to think? Because now everybody else can make that sort of Lego style structure. And there are many local competitors that have entered into the market, which make the exact same style Lego brick, but they offer it at a very cheaper price. Now, the thing is, like, one, they have the product quality is lower, and second, like, in order to maintain the competitive advantage, first of all, the process quality is super. Second, to make sure that's safe. All right. So Tesla, right? So until a few years, you had hybrids, but like who knew there would be an electric car which would be as powerful and as competitive as a fossil fuel engine. But when Tesla entered into the market, they built a competitive edge. They held it for quite a while, but now that the global perspective of the fossil fuel is changing, the more awareness, the more kind of negative reaction people, consumers have in the world towards fossil fuels, the more popularity the electric vehicles are gaining. And look at that, EQS product line. That is, well, in my opinion, I haven't driven any of those, but in my opinion, Mercedes EQS is way better than Tesla, like in terms of looks, performance, and all that. So competitive advantage. Once you achieve an organization, you have to struggle really to maintain. Right? So Lean Six Sigma, it takes some investment, it takes commitment and application research to kind of focus on this particular side. But once you embrace it, once you harness it as an organization, it definitely helps you a lot by saving tons in terms of costs and removal of waste mistakes from your process. So, yeah, in the end, we talk about Naburva. We are a registered in Canada with training and certification to business operations, business enterprise. There are certificates that we are offering. I'm talking to university students, all right? So first level, Yale is not really about you guys. It's more for to use a high school graduate, college certificate. So this is what entry level professionals who want the green belt. Green belt is for most professionals who want to be a part of a Lean Six Sigma team, and there are professionals like with a bachelor's degree or master's degree. Master's title is more appropriate because this is something that relates to a management perspective of Lean Six Sigma products. So the green belts are able to manage portions of Lean Six Sigma products, and are able to supervise the Lean Six Sigma yellow belts that will report to black belts. Black belt holder, is a professional at a project manager level. Okay, so that's if you talk about sort of job titles. So when green belts would have titles like a process consultant, continuous improvement specialist, quality specialist, and the Lean Six Sigma black belt holder would have things like operations manager, Lean Six Sigma project manager, continuous improvement manager, things like that. This is more for national level professions. These are a few companies here in Canada and overseas who, like, those professions are enrolled in our programs. So these include like big and small companies, include like multi-billion-dollar companies like PepsiCo or Bell, and they have startups as well. In the education sector, we have GII Pakistan and we have University of Ottawa, Canada. The professionals from these institutions are enrolled in our programs. It just reflects their trust in our education. Yeah. Okay. So but our position, right? So in terms of content, the other certification program industry currently covers we are covering. That is the project management piece, as well as change management piece. Like all the courses that are out there, even like which are considered the top industry, they're offering only the technical skills, tools and techniques. But do you think it is fair that when we were talking about the professionals' skill set for entering into project management field, and they have like they don't have these skills related to project management? Well, not really, right? So these modules on project management, especially in the like Pakistan, where it's not really very common, right? So anything that relates to change, and anything that relates to Lean Six Sigma will essentially be a project, all right? And because there are differences in the way you manage operations and you manage products, but we're not really, we're a bunch of time, so I won't get into the details of how these are different. But essentially, you will learn more. Will get to know about these areas of project management, change management, and stakeholder management, leadership piece. So the content is the first thing. Second is our philosophy. I don't believe in the programs and certifications that are just the idea of studying theory and reading the same. I have developed the program myself, And I personally studied at like the top institute, like HSC, that business school was like one of the top in the world. So this green belt certification that you see here, that is from HSC Montreal. On the one on my right, this is from IASC, which is a leader based in the US. I'm telling you this, like the program that we are offering, it is based on practical application, whatever skill set you learn into real life business problems. The assignments that are of the program, the projects, the final exam, everything is based on practical problem solving. All right. And the third component is our foundation. So this component really ties into our philosophy of real life application, and it is an open book examination system that we have. And the reason, you know what, the concept of learning is something I don't see it associated as much with the idea of rote memorization as I do it with the practical problem. Right? And if you look up the definition, you know what it means. Learning refers to a relatively permanent change of behavior, which is based on their knowledge and experience. That's what learning refers to. Our traditional evaluation is a big focus on, like, if I have a good short-term memory, I can get a better grade on that. What happens with the memory is rote learning. So you learn something. Even if you're memorizing, what happens is that those neural pathways in your brain, those neurons, they build connection. So the more you repeat something, the more stronger those connections get. And once you stop using that thing, you stop thinking about the subject you're those neural connections really away, right? So what happens with the memorization is that those neural pathways are developed within your brain, but they're isolated in different chunks. You can't really relate it to anything. You may be able to reproduce it on a paper, but once you, let's say, you get your degree and you apply to an organization for an internship or job. So if your knowledge base is based on rote memorization, you wouldn't be able to know what all these things I would want to do. Somebody will have to tell you, you do this, you do. Like learn, ideally, not rote memorization. You'll be able to make those connections. So neural pathways that develop as a problem, as a result of real meaningful learning, they are interconnected. You are able to relate your prior knowledge, to relate the information that you get in your program to a problem that you face in personal life. In your personal life, for example, the organization that you're working for. Okay, so that's what makes our program the gold standard. Because what you will learn in the program is not just meant to be memorized and watched when you have to be done. It is an open book exam. You ask the tools, and you know how many projects are out there which ask you to rely on your memory, not a tool, to solve a given problem. So there's many problems, right? So if this doesn't happen in real life, why should it happen in your evaluation? Does that make sense? So if you're a surgeon, you're in an operation room, and you're like going to operation, you wouldn't have to think about what you have to use. Like the nurse will be right there with all the tools that you need. So you would use the required tool to do something. In the same way, your examination will be you will be presented with problems that real businesses face in real life, and you'll be expected to find the right tool, consult your notes. If you've taken if you kind of cheat sheet or something, but come up with the right tool to solve your problem. That's what knowledge is. That's what it refers to. So, and if you like look at like the Islamic injunctions, it's about acquisition of knowledge. It's not about memorization. Like, all the books on hadith, all the hadith books, they have a chapter on the knowledge, not memorization, knowledge. So when you will get the idea, you will learn the difference between memorization and knowledge. You'll understand right now what I'm saying right now. Okay, so this was a little bit about and, yeah, just to kind of leave you with feedback after our webinar today, like half off percent off the participation if you want to enroll. In this offer as well. Oh, sorry, I don't have the schedule here. It's 30 June, right? So if you want to enroll, you will private advice code at the checkout, and you will get 50% off. Remember, this is off 10th of June, 30th June. All right. Okay. So that was all about the release of philosophy and about our program. So, any questions that you might have, I'll be back to answer. Yes, anybody? Any questions?
So we have some questions here. Sir, does Sigma advice for manufacturing farmer is it applicable for small business like retail shops?
The voice was really distorted. Sorry, I couldn't really hear that. If I understood correctly, if I got it right, it was about whether the Lean Six Sigma is only for big organizations or for small businesses too. Am I right? That was the question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So Lean Six Sigma is for all the organizations, regardless of what level they're operating at, right? Because same costs is equally important, or probably even more important for small businesses, because big businesses have some, like they have their reserves, they have other portfolio investments to cushion anything that they suffer with extra costs that they're incurring in their operations. But small businesses may not have kind of cushion, right? So for small businesses, it is even more important to kind of subscribe to this philosophy, because imagine all businesses is having operations that are comprised of many non-value adding activities, and each one of them is adding more and more cost to them. Guess what? Their profitability. Either their profit margins are going to be really, really thin, or they will go out of business really soon. Right? So it is equally, if not more, for small businesses. Anything else?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Next question is, sir, does business are only eligible when it is fully global, or you can apply at starting of setup? Because to make business grow, there will be a lot of cost for advertisement or other expenses.
I am really sorry, I couldn't understand this question at all. If there's a lot of kind of noise in the voice here, so if maybe you can just type it here, and I would be glad to answer.
Okay, sir, I will try.
It's fully grown or you can apply the starting. Yeah, that's a very good question. The question is that whether the business should like apply this philosophy only when they're at their full, or they should apply this philosophy in the way they conduct their operations right at the very start. Okay, so if we're talking about startups, it is advisable. I think it's mandatory to have the lean processes set up in place right from the start. Right? If you let me give you an example. If an organization built like 5 different functions to create a product, and only 2 of them are actually needed. All right. So what will they do? They will be those 5 because they will either have to like terminate people for the other 3, or they will have to continue incurring that like more than twice extra cost in their operations, which is not needed. Right? So if you want to like introduce a lean philosophy, do it right at the start when you're establishing yourself as a lean. Design your processes around lean philosophy right from the beginning. If your processes are such that require maintaining a certain sigma level, do it at the very beginning. So it's definitely advisable to do it at the beginning, as opposed to if you have to later switch to a different methodology, which will have implications on your company's culture, on your manpower's morale, on the engagement levels, and all that. So you don't want to mess around with the things that are happening like in routine. You don't want to mess them around midway. I mean, you can do it tactfully, but of course that will take more effort. It will take more time. So better you do it the right way from the very beginning, right?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So,
Anything
next
else?
question is, sir, in your opinion, has COVID-19 played a role of Six Sigma in terms of finance and cost management?
I really apologize. I couldn't hear you all this time too. So if you could type this one too, I'll. Oh yeah, great. COVID-19 played a role in the lean six. Okay, so my personal opinion on that is that the importance of reducing costs has never been as great as it is now, because COVID-19 has messed up a lot of businesses, unprofitable businesses, and the importance for them to operate in a lean way and to reduce and cut down on their costs has never been as important as it is today. I mean, of course, there are certain businesses which have thrived during this pandemic, like online shopping and all that. But many businesses have suffered a lot. Like even like what was considered oil and gas. Take that for example. It's oil and gas is something that the demand of this sector never really goes down. But pandemic, like the transportation, the airlines, the cars, buses, it came to a halt. So the price really tanked all at once. So the big, like really big companies, their share value dropped to like less than half of the pandemic. So if they were not, these businesses were not operating that way, they had to find a way to cut down the cost. So COVID has definitely which even which warrants the application of lean philosophy more than before. Right. So I hope that answers the question. Anything else? Okay, perfect, awesome.
Thank you everyone for joining this webinar. It is really great to talk to you guys. Sadly, the time is over. Thus, please provide your valuable feedback. It will help us to improve in our future sessions. Thank you once again and
Perfect. Thank you very much. It was really nice of you guys, the administration, all the people who've been working in the background. It was really nice of you guys to have me here on the forum, and it's really exciting to talk to young professionals in Pakistan. I'm not really sure of the audience background, but I believe they will be from management as well as the disciplines. It was really exciting to be a part of this initiative and to talk to everybody from Comsats. And yeah, if any of you guys, anybody who's listening, if you have any questions that you couldn't ask during this session due to due to this platform, or due to some interruptions with the internet or whatever, if you want to get answers to those questions, I will be more than happy to answer. Reach out to me on LinkedIn or reach out to Zonish on LinkedIn. And but before I forget, like, of course, I'm thankful to the administration of Comstats University for this opportunity, and equally from our end, from the birth, it was Zonish's hard work which was in the background, and I would definitely like to thank her to all the efforts that made the session happen. And yeah, like I said, if there are any questions, I'm glad to answer. Just reach out to me on LinkedIn. I don't mind that at all. All right. So thank you very much, everybody.
thank you, sir, for your time.